What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Dre, the Brute Danes. Welcome to an episode of the Indie Corner, where I sit down with everybody from the independent community, writers, artists, directors, producers. Doesn't matter if you're in the game, I want to talk to you. So today we have ourselves a very special guest. Oh, you're going to love her. You're going to love her. She is the writer of a Western fantasy and runs her own YouTube channel. Give it up, everybody, for Lady Balefire.
Hello, nice to see you, Dre. Awesome to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine, Lady V. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for making the time to come and speak with me today.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
How you doing today?
Oh, I can't complain. Can't complain. The sun is up and I'm above the ground, so it's a glorious day.
Good.
All right. So before we even get into all the great work that you're doing and your YouTube channel, all that great stuff, let's talk about you for a little bit. Who are you? Where you come from? How do we get here?
Oh my goodness, is that a story or what? So I think I've always been like kind of a nerdy, creative child. I like to read a lot, and I have been into like costuming and stuff since I was a kid. And when I was younger, I used to really be into Star Wars and Star Trek. I did cosplay. I used to write fan fiction, and I went to college. I went to UCLA, and I got a degree in English because I like to write. And after that, I did something that every English major should do. I went and became a race car driver.
That's dope.
Yes, I definitely, definitely kind of strange, but I got really into watching rally racing with my brother. And so for about 6 years, I raced professionally. And that was a good experience in terms of my creative stuff, because I did all of my own PR, and I would do a lot of I did my own website, and I kind of did some of my own videos too. And that went fine until about 2008. And we had that nice little financial crash, and I lost a lot of my sponsorship, and I just got really depressed. And then some other things happened in my life, and long story short, I ended up getting divorced, moving back with my parents, and I went to film school, which I had always wanted to do that. And I think if I hadn't gone and been an English major, I probably would have done that. But the way that UCLA works, it's like all the schools within the school are you have to apply to them. So I was already in UCLA. I'd have to apply to the film school just to get into it, and I didn't have enough money to do that. And so I just graduated. But I came back and took classes through the extension, and I was studying screenwriting and development and production. And then I realized that's really too much business, and I like doing the artistic stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna just do I would do directing. And I finished the screenwriting and development thing, and ended up not being able to finish the directing thing because of the pandemic, and I lost my business, and
Rinse and repeat.
That kind of thing. Yeah. So now I've been just trying to I got really depressed over the last 2 years, and I just didn't really have much of a direction to go in. And I think I was one of my favorite books is Game of Thrones, and I was rereading it again, and I'm just this is the 5th time I've read this series, so I needed something else. And I was watching, I think it was Nerdrotic's video about George R. R. Martin's never gonna finish it, and a whole bunch of people in the comments of the video suggested different things to read. And one of it was the Wheel of Time series. So I went and looked at the library, and I saw the books, and I read the books, and it was just so refreshing to have a good, positive, uplifting story that I just, it kind of reignited my passion for writing and stuff, and got me out of the slump. And man, it's so funny. It's I read that, and then I was looking at stuff online about it, and I saw, there's a TV show, and I realized how awful the TV show was, and I watched some videos about that, and eventually ended up on the White Cloaks Discord, and I met some people through that, and we had a lot of good discussions, and I was on a few of their rewatches, and eventually one of the people on there talked me into doing my own YouTube channel, because I started doing reviews of House of the Dragon because I knew Game of Thrones. So we ended up he ended up getting me to start my own YouTube channel. So if you're out there, Pips, and you're listening to this, thank you.
Yeah, Pips is awesome. I love him. Good people.
Yeah, he's funny.
So, Lady B, let's rewind just a touch. Race car driving. How the heck did you get into that?
I know, it's so random and it's so weird. So when I was in high school, I graduated in 2000, so this was a while ago. But my brother, he's younger than I am, and he wanted to be a mechanic, or not a mechanic. He played race car video games, and we used to watch World Rally Championship on TV all the time, and we just thought that's the coolest thing. And rally driving is basically like street cars and that have souped up suspension and different tires, and they do off-road racing all over the place. And it's not like a circuit track kind of a thing. It's like a one car at a track on the time and doing a off-road course.
Yeah,
and
I'm familiar a little bit with rally racing.
Okay,
with rally racing, I actually drive a Honda Fit, which kind of is a rally car, so it kind of fits in there. Yeah, I'm not really into racing like that. Yeah. But like back when I was young, I used to play a lot of Need for Speed and Gran Turismo and stuff.
Yeah, that kind of cars.
Yeah.
So so my brother and I would watch the World Rally Championship races on Sundays, and then they had like a Speed TV used to have an old show in the morning where they show like older like 80s racing and stuff. So we always watched it.
The
and
Speed
my brother was
Channel. Oh man, that takes me back. Holy crap. Oh,
I know. I warned you. I'm an old lady. And yeah, so we're watching the Speed Channel, and my brother was like, yeah, I want to be a rally car driver. And so he thought the best way to do that would be to become a mechanic so he could work on his own car. So a long story short, he went to UTI, which is a mechanic school, and he ended up working for other places and dealerships and stuff. And then I just said, screw it, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to become a rally driver. And I started volunteering at local events, and I eventually found a mentor, and he helped me learn how to drive. And I started off in a 1976 Toyota Corolla rear-wheel drive, no power steering.
That sounds like
carburetors. Fun. Yeah, it was a beast to drive, but the cool thing is if you learn to drive a slow car fast, you can drive a fast car really fast.
That's true.
So I moved into an 83 Corolla, and then from there I went to a Mitsubishi Evolution 6.5, and that was just an amazing car. That's ultimate favorite. And then an Evo 8 that had 650 horsepower, and with that car I did Pikes Peak twice, and I also became the first woman to win a national rally event in the U.S. So
that's awesome.
That's my claim to fame.
That is awesome.
So I have such a weird background, but I've always been into the creative stuff and have been very adventurous. So yeah, that's definitely
that's
different.
Blowing my freaking skull here. All right, so rally racing, but it went south in 08 when everything went south. So
yeah, I mean, it's just the automotive industry kind of collapsed. I was just at the point where I needed to have cash sponsorships from my sponsors. They would give me product, and that was very helpful, but I needed track time. I needed to pay for fuel at hotels and stuff like that. So when that happened, they just couldn't keep financially, they couldn't do the financial support. So I kind of continued on until about 2009, and I think the last event that I did was the Long Beach Grand Prix, which was really fun because I was doing an exhibition run with a guy that had built his own electric Shelby Mustang, and he also had a Cobra too. So that was really fun. And so I did a couple of hot laps around Long Beach there, and it was an interesting experience driving an electric car too. So.
Yeah, you took me back with the Shelby. My grandfather used to love rocking those things.
I know they're so
Shelby Cobra was his favorite car of all time. Like me, I've always loved the 1972 Corvette Stingray because it looks like the Batmobile. So, the Batmobile. So I clearly, what I mean. So it was
Batman.
So I'm I've always loved that car. But that's really fascinating. Have you thought about getting back into it, or
actually no, it's just insanely expensive, and rally is a very European and rest of the world centric sport. It's huge in Europe. I mean, and in the US it's not that popular, and there was there weren't that many places to do it, and gradually on the West Coast, like a lot of our events got canceled because of stuff with like BLM, as in Bureau of Land Management. They didn't want us like going on the roads and environmentalist crap, but
Gotcha.
yeah, I'm
Gotcha.
not gonna sound off on that, but
Yeah,
it was
I
sad.
gotcha.
We lost a lot of our races and stuff because of that, and it's so expensive. It's like the entry fees for the races were like $1,500 for race, and then it's like a 3-day event. You have tires, fuel, hotels, food. It's super expensive.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you if you don't have all the cash sponsorship, you got to bankroll all that yourself, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and I worked my ass off at the time. I had a few jobs and stuff like that, so it was definitely hustle 24/7 for that.
Yeah, I can see why you would want to get back into it unless you start balling like Magic Johnson. I could see how you wouldn't do
Yeah,
it. Yeah. Okay, all right, but that's
especially
cool.
now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we go to film school. So like me, I live in Washington D.C. I grew up here. I've been here for ever. Um, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, the whole 9 yards. I did want to go to film school. I wanted to be a director when I was a kid. I wanted to be a writer,
Yeah.
director. I wanted to be like the next Coppola, all that great stuff. You know, all that cool stuff, all those legendary directors and writers and stuff like that. But it just never, the opportunity just never really presented itself for me. So
Yeah.
what was your game plan when you were in film school? Like, what did you want to accomplish while you were there? Were you looking to be a
Yeah.
director, writer? What were you trying to do?
So, what had happened when I was at UCLA is that I ended up getting an internship for a smaller production studio when I was there, and my job was to like read scripts and just do general office tasks. And at the same time, like when I was a kid, I was really involved with music. I used to play the French horn, and I
Sweet.
really like music. But I got so involved with like the classical music thing, and it's not like really huge kind of
Market.
scene, I guess you could say. Yeah. So I was really good at what I did, and I kind of did everything I could do, and I just got kind of burned out of it when I was done with high school. And so when I got to college, I thought of like I really wanted to keep involved in music, and so I started. I realized that UCLA has an extension program, and that's kind of it's almost like I wouldn't say a trade school per se, but it has like you can just get certificates in certain things. So when I was at UCLA, I also got a certificate in audio engineering, and that was really cool. But I was also doing English stuff at the same time. So when I got this internship, it was the place was on the Warner Brothers lot, which is just a really cool place to explore. And the studio I was working for was just really really small. It was like kind of like a one room kind of a thing, and they did like family movies and more like faith-based stuff.
Okay.
And so there wasn't a ton of work, and they would like say, okay, you can read this once you're done reading the scripts commission, you could go and wander the like Warner Brothers lot, which was really pretty cool. And
That's like fun.
I met a lot of really interesting people, and I met some audio engineers, and I was almost to the point where I could have gone that way, but I ended up doing racing and stuff. But while I was there, I just saw like a lot of interesting things, and the thing that really got me with filmmaking is that there's so many different ways that a creative person could fit themselves into the world, and I think that's the best way I could say it.
Yeah.
And then it's something that just really never left my mind, because when I was racing, I did a bunch of stuff on TV. I was on one of the I can't think of the name of the show, one of the old speed TV shows with the electric cars, doing a showcase for that.
Lady
And
B, are you trying to secretly tell me that you famous and you holding out on me? That's what's going down.
kind of, yeah, it's kind of weird to have a secret life, but yeah, I did that, and I was on LA Inc. too, and I did my thing with a race car there, and but when it never really left my mind, because I met a lot of people that wanted to do a reality show with me, and I thought that would have been kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like I know from like my experience in the film industry that like reality TV really is sort of like semi-scripted, and so they're very into like wanting to have conflicts with people, and I'm not confrontational like that at all. And
Yeah.
rally racing is dangerous, and I said I don't want to like get into some kind of manufactured drama kind of thing with other people or my crew or something like that, because I'm not going to risk my life. basically, or theirs. So I really just didn't want to do that, and a lot of like the stuff just fell through. And then it happened when I came back to do the film stuff. I just kind of thought like, well, after everything kind of fell apart, and I had like about like almost like 7 years of just crap happening to me, and had some health issues, and
I'm
I was
sorry
like,
to hear
okay,
that.
what do I?
That's
Yeah,
rough.
no, it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm good now. I'm healthy, but I was just like, what do I do now? And I thought like it would be fun just to go back to school again and do film school, which is what I wanted to do as like grad school, but I didn't have enough money. And the cool thing about the extension at UCLA is that you can just take class by class, and they do have some like moderate financial support.
Okay.
So it was
Like a grant.
So I could,
Okay.
yeah, I could get grants for it, and it wasn't like a loan or anything. So I was just not, because I really couldn't afford to take on any debt. But I did the program, and I was really enjoyed it. I excelled in it. I made a lot of really awesome contacts with my teacher. I ended up working for another film company that did the film Loving Vincent, or distribute it. And when I was there as an intern for them, we ended up doing an Oscar campaign for that. And that was super interesting to see how that stuff works. And I was just like, yeah, I really like this, and I really wanted to work in the film industry. And you know, it was, things just happened that, again, I didn't really foresee. And the company I was working for, let's see, this was like about 2017, 18. And this is when all the Harvey Weinstein crap came out. And the owner of the company was friends with him. And I realized that he was really a pervy creep.
Okay.
And he was like being kind of pervy with me, kind of like grew me into it, because like and I just was like, oh, this is so weird. And I had some other experiences like that with racing, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I don't really want to do this that much. And so I thought maybe it won't work in Hollywood, but maybe do something independent or something like that. And I started thinking that way, and then a lot of things changed. Like once the pandemic started, I had started my own business. I had a Poshmark store that was doing pretty well, and I was using it to pay my tuition. And I had to shut that down because I couldn't source stuff to sell. And I just it just all kind of came down. And so, yeah, I was just like, I didn't really know where to go.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for sharing all that wonderful journey.
Yeah.
It's
been a trip.
Yeah, it's been a trip, but to see that you still keep getting up on your own hind legs, and keep going forward despite the setbacks. Like,
yeah,
most people that are on a creative journey, like yourself or myself or others that we know that's in our circle, we've been put on our butt cheeks several times. You know, what I mean, it's not new. It's not a new thing, to go through that. But it's all about how you get back up and how you keep on swinging despite the setbacks.
Oh, definitely.
So, so thank you so very much for sharing all that with me. So, okay.
Yeah.
So, we went to film school. Things didn't really go the way we wanted to. Had a racing thing, didn't really pan out the way we wanted to. So, how did we... yeah. So, how did we get to starting to write and getting into the development for a Western fantasy? How do we end up start getting into that?
Oh my goodness. So basically I went on this trip of reading the Wheel of Time books, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a 14-book series. They're really thick, and I mean, like, they're books that are like this big.
I personally have not read them, but I am familiar with a Wheel of Time. Mm-hmm.
I thought I had it on the side. I'll just show you, but the library that's close to me didn't have all of the books, or like when I wanted to read them, so I ended up going to this other library that's kind of far away. And I think one day I was out with my mom, and she's a big reader too, and she's always been really supportive with writing and stuff like that. And we started talking about something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if people herded dragons like cows? And that just was such a random thought. And then we started talking about it, and I was like, we could have a fantasy Western. And I really got thinking about that, because so what I did when I was in film school is I really like doing was development, and that's kind of like you're almost like a writing coach. So you learn so we learned the stuff about like what makes a good story, how to write scripts, how to improve stories and stuff like that. And I really, really enjoyed that, because I liked working with people and kind of coaching them. And So I started thinking about the stuff that I learned from that, and like about film genres and the genre of the Western and kind of the themes. And I realized there was a lot of crossover between like fantasy and Westerns. Like there's the kind of epic adventure kind of a thing. There's like man versus nature. The idea that like you're dealing with kind of like the bigger themes of like good versus evil and stuff like that. And I just thought that was really cool. And I thought like, how come nobody's done something like that? And I thought like, and then I came up with the idea about cows, and that totally didn't work in the book, but it got me thinking about it. So what I kind of came up with was like a world where we have like the kind of typical North and South American cryptids. So this is a world where there's like chupacabras and like wendigos and Sasquatches. But there's also dragons because it's fantasy. And but I thought like I need a better dragon that's more like in tune with the Americas. So I went with more like the Quetzalcoatl route.
Okay.
So I'm working that in there, and I've been doing a lot to kind of create a world that makes sense and come up with like magic that makes sense and kind of fitting just I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of really amazing people that have been kind enough to read stuff that I've written, because I did like a first draft and I had about like 70 pages.
That's not bad first draft. It's not bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even done, but like it was some people read it and they were like, okay, like this is just a little bit too much. Like,
word salad.
Really cool. Yeah, but you're trying to do too much. There's 2 introductions, and then I kind of found a writing partner he's a really good editor, and he was offering me a bunch of suggestions and helped me like kind of narrow down what I was doing. And that to me was so fun because that's my development stuff, and I was finding somebody that's speaking the same language that I did in terms of like giving me the kind of feedback I wanted. And so I thought like, okay, yeah, I would definitely want to get into this, and I want to write this as a novel, because I mean, before all I was doing is fan fiction, and I've been doing a series of videos about that, but it's just not something that's like, that's just totally a hobby. So
yeah, fan fiction. From what I've learned over the years, being in the writing industry for God knows how long now, fan fiction is the blueprint. It's like the blueprint for ideas. That's about it. I don't take fan fiction seriously as far as narrative or development of characters. I think of it as like it's deviant art. It's the best way I can. That's the best way I can put it. Like fan fiction is deviant art.
I know. I've been doing a series of videos with my friend Alex about it, because he would write it too, and we like really did a deep dive about like why we wrote it and the good stuff about it, and then the video I'm making now is kind of the bad parts about it and how it's sort of penetrated mainstream, not just literature but media. And my thing with that, and this is where I'm hoping to go with my really like my desire to do like the development stuff and to help people, is that I want to go from that series of videos and do like writing coach videos kind of thing. So I take some of the stuff that I've written, and yeah, it's totally cringe, I'll be the first to admit, but we'll show you how to edit your stuff and make it better. And if you do write fan fiction and want to move out of that, like you could start doing your own stuff. So I'm like with you guys, and I thought that was so fun when we did Jetstream, and we're just like, we want to do something good and do something original and the kind of stuff that we want to see. And that's basically where I wanted to go with that. And that's what got me to do my own novel finally, because I just thought, you know, it's what we need now, and it's what I need to do for myself.
Oh, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, indeed. But you make a lot of interesting points and good points as well. Like we mentioned on Jetstream a few weeks back about like how there is a need for high quality writing and just solid escapism for our readers or viewers, whichever one you fit into. And the fact that you're trying to take your time and actually do it right and move away from fan fiction is the exact kind of growth that every budding writer needs to do. Period.
Yeah, you have to do that, period, because, like, and I'm sure you've seen it in, like, superheroes and stuff. It's almost like it's like you had the initial stuff that spawned the fan fiction, but now it's kind of like the wave hitting the sides of the pool and coming back, where the fan fiction stuff is starting to get in the media. And it's the fan service stuff that we hate that's ruining stuff. I mean, like, I don't need to mention She-Hulk to you, because
Please don't.
that's an abomination. But we've seen it with, like, Rings of Power, and it's really a lot of stuff that they do in these shows are really kind of fan service stuff that come out of that kind of fan fiction fandom thing. And, you know, there are a lot of people like us that are tired of it, and we're kind of just want something high quality. So, you know, be the change you want to see.
Yep, be the change you want to see. Ooh, well spoken. I'm stealing that. That one's
Yeah,
mine
take
now.
it.
That one's mine now.
That's
Be
not
the
even
change you wanna
original.
see.
But I think there's a lot of a need, especially now with all of the stuff that's happened to everyone, to go back to these sort of like prototypical like hero's journey kind of stories. And I know that's a lot of the reasons why like comic stuff has been so popular, is it really does get into the kind of like hero's journey, the idea of like somebody rising above the ordinary and assuming maybe like a title or something that, like, larger than themselves, and trying to do the right thing. And that to me is like, it really resonates with me, just because that's what I needed at this time of life, and that's what I found in Wheel of Time. And I want to bring that kind of storytelling back, and I know that you're probably doing that with your stuff. I was very interested when you told me about it, and it seems just so cool, and I really can't wait to read your comic books.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. And shout outs to Mom. I remember you mentioned that she
oh yeah, my mom. Oh shoot. Whatever that's the like stream. I wasn't on the stream with you, but she was listening in on the conversation, and I think it was I think you were talking to Adam, the Renaissance nerd, or somebody, and they're talking about like the idea versus like telling like Black stories versus like just recycling them, like with taking stories and just like race swapping. And she thought you had a great point, and she was really interested. And I told her about like your comic and music, music and the magic in it, because that was interesting, because that's kind of like what got me started on my magic thing, and she thought it was really interesting, and she's a fan.
Oh, well, anytime I can sway mamas, I'm all in. That's the ultimate goal. But I'm so happy that that I made a fan out of your mom. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel really
yeah,
good.
she's cool.
Absolutely. So that's great. But so, Lady B, here are the questions, the big questions. Now, we know that a Western fantasy is still in the works, but do you have a projected date on when you want to release or
I have
any
really
projections?
no kinds of dates. Like my life has just been everywhere, and I need to like make sure that I can get back on my feet, and I'm looking for a job right now. So as soon as I get that done and I have a better idea of my schedule, I'm hoping it takes me maybe like 4 or 5 months to finish it, because I did a prologue now. I've written 1 chapter, and I have like, the funny thing is I wrote the chapter for a writing challenge, and then I realized, oh, this would actually work as an actual chapter in the book, but it's probably going to be chapter 5 or 6. So I have the rest of the story plotted out. I just need to write it. So I'm hoping I could probably have like a finished draft in the next by like summer. I really hope.
Okay, that's a good goal. That's a good goal. It's a very good goal.
Then I want to keep doing my videos, which are really fun. I mean, so far I've just been doing House of the Dragon reviews. I'm trying to like look at it with I know everyone I've got a reputation for being a hater on that show, but I try to like go through it and just point out like film, like either writing or story things or film production stuff, and try to give people like legitimate criticism of it instead of just rage farming, so that's gonna end this weekend, and from there I have some more like original stuff that I would like to do. And so I'm hoping to kind of take my interest in filmmaking and kind of let it live on the YouTube channel.
Sweet. Excellent. All of that sounds great. So,
Thank you.
Lady B, let me thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming on the show. talking about all your great
Thank
work.
you for having me.
Your fantastic journey, which I definitely didn't see coming. I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you taking the time to actually come and talk to me about it. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Dre. Like, it's so cool. I was so glad to meet you with Jetstream and like learning about writing comic books and how your own story it's like really inspirational to me. And I always like to see people telling the stories they want to see and doing something different, and that's always great. So we got to support each other. And really, honestly, thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to doing more stuff with you in the future.
Oh, most definitely. We will be doing some things. Make no mistake about that. I can't wait. So everybody, that there is Lady Balefire. Follow her on all her social media platforms. I'm going to put it in the description section below. And keep your eyes peeled for when she finally releases a Western fantasy. Because no doubt it's going to be awesome. And I definitely will be one of the first people in line to get my signed copy. Make no mistake about that. So, who am I, everybody? Who am I? I'm Dre, the Brute Daniels. Follow me on all my dope social media platforms. I'll put right under my face. They're not there yet, but they will be. At the Brute00 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if I feel like being silly, on TikTok. As always, you guys have been awesome, and I'll catch you all next time.
Thanks. Take care.
Also, if you want to support my channel, check out spinwiz.com or download the Spinwiz app and check out my comic series Trouble. It was written with a lot of love and it was definitely my favorite comic series to write. I've also written it in English and in Spanish, so whatever floats your boat, I got it for you. Thanks again and check it out.